Good afternoon, Montgomery County. Thank you for joining us on behalf of County Executive Mark Elrick. We want to welcome you to the Revitalization Town Hall. We have a great discussion for you today. We are joined by Dr. Earl Stoddard and Ms. Sylvia Kinch, as always, for our vaccine update, as well as our DPS Director, Mitra Pedoeem, who is going to talk about how she is streamlining the efforts to make it easier to do business with Montgomery County, as well as removing some of the barriers that we have heard from our residents that impacts their business capabilities. So I do want to say, first of all, let me turn over to our interpreter, Mr. Mario. He's going to provide some information for our Spanish viewing audience. Okay. Okay, all right, moving on. So I do want to give a few updates regarding grants, where we are and what the county has done. All right, sorry, I heard a little feedback. Our partners at EDC are working around the clock in order to get the third phase of the restaurant relief grants out the door from the state. That was $3.8 million. Congratulations to everyone who has applied for those grants, who has received their award notification. The contract agreement, grant agreement from the state stipulates that the disbursements must be made by June 30th, which is next week. So they are working to make sure that those funds get into the hands of those who need them as soon as possible. We still have not created a new grant program for the fall as of now, based on funding that we believe will be available. Our team is working internally to sort of research some ideas on who, where, and how any more funding that needs to be distributed in the fall will occur. So please stay on the lookout for that as we move forward. And one other thing I want to update you on before Dr. Stoddard joins us is that this meeting, which is occurring every other week, we will not meet during the month of July. It is a good thing that we're not meeting during the month of July for several reasons. One, we want to thank you for all of the long hours and the time that you have dedicated to listen to us over the many months of doing this. We are turning a corner, so to speak, where things are improving. So the information that we are reporting out to you has slowed down significantly, but we do believe that this is a viable channel for you to listen to us and for us to hear from you. So we are going to keep it going. We're just taking the month of July off so that we can get ready and get prepared better for the last part of summer and the beginning of fall. Now, going forward, we believe that keeping these meetings virtually is going to be important. We want to make sure that we make it convenient for the business owners so that you can still go through your regular day, jump over here for an hour and go back to your regular day. We believe that this virtual forum should be supplemented with an in-person forum so that we can all get together in the same place, in the same space eventually. So please be on the lookout for some questions regarding the best way to make that happen and see if there's an appetite to do that. But make no mistake, we will keep this going virtually because it is very convenient, and we're grateful for everyone who's listening and able to tune in when you can. So now I do want to welcome Dr. Earl Stoddard. We know that the vaccination rates for Montgomery County are increasing. We're in alignment with the state. You know, a lot of good things have happened since the last time I spoke to him. We want to thank him, his colleagues, and Ms. Sylvia Kinch and Dr. Travis Gales and everyone else for what they did during some of the darkest hours that any of us can remember. But I'm sure that he has some good news now, and that's what we'll focus on, and then we'll go from there. Dr. Stoddard, welcome, and glad to see you.
Thank you, Jerome. Good afternoon, everyone. Appreciate being invited back and glad to be here. Just going to go over a few things about where our COVID situation is. We'll start off with the vaccination update because that's the best news. Well, I shouldn't say the best news. Case rate's pretty good too, so both of them are quite good. So right now, Montgomery County, amongst jurisdictions larger than 300,000, ranks #1 in the country of counties for vaccination rate among its eligible population, meaning its 12+ population. That number as of today for fully vaccinated, meaning both doses of Pfizer or Moderna or a single dose of Johnson & Johnson, is 78.1% of eligible residents 12 and above. Among the adult population 18 or above, it actually exceeds 80%, and among our 65 and older population, it's 91.3%. Now, I mentioned both doses, but obviously the CDC has actually begun to report first dose data too, which is great because those people will all have some level of protection. And amongst our eligible population, 87.4% of our population has received at least one dose of the vaccine, which means that we have only less than 13% of our population that has not received some of the vaccine. And among those, there may be also some people who have gotten infected with COVID, which may also offer them some protection moving forward. So we've got a very high level of community protection rate in Montgomery County. That in turn is reflected in our COVID numbers. So today's cases, we actually had 13 cases today, which is an exceptionally high number for us given what we've been over the last week. Yesterday was 2, the day before was 6, the day before that was 3, the day before that was 5. So it gives you some context so that, over the last week, 13 has been our high water mark, which obviously some of the darker days of the pandemic, it was certainly in the hundreds. Our test positivity is 0.35%, which is exceptionally good. And our case rate is 0.6 cases per 100,000. One case per 100,000 is the threshold for the lowest range that CDC offers. So we are well below that as well. So obviously, I want to give credit where credit is due. So certainly the government agencies and partners have been really hugely involved in getting vaccines out, but our residents and our business partners and others have been hugely involved in that success as well. And so I want to thank you all for your work in helping us to get more people vaccinated, more workers vaccinated all across the board. We're doing incredibly well in Montgomery County, and it shows how effective the vaccine can be when you see how few cases a population of 1.05 million can have in a given day, even despite there being areas around the country that have not been vaccinated, and therefore people traveling into our region could be introducing it. We're not seeing it in terms of our case rate, which is exceptionally great progress. Two other things I want to touch on, and I'm going to leave some of this for Ms. Kinch to talk about because I think she's a little bit more thoroughly able to cover the governor's announcement from last week, whereby he announced that the emergency declaration for the state of Maryland will be rescinded effective July 1st. Now, the way he described it, and I'll allow her to proceed, is that some things will be rescinded on July 1st. Most things will be rescinded on July 1st. And there will be a little bit of a tail or a ramp down for some of the other things, such as the eviction moratorium that will extend till August 15th. I'll actually turn it over to you, Sylvia. I have a few things to say afterwards, but I'll let you go in and talk about what the emergency declaration being lifted means to residents and businesses.
Okay, so hello everyone. I'm Sylvia Kinch with the Office of the County Attorneys. Dr. Stoddard is correct that the governor rescinded the state of emergency as well as the declared catastrophic health emergency for the state of Maryland. That means that some of the authority for certain programs to continue ends, as well as the authority under which some of the existing health orders continues. So that impacts, most importantly, I think for everyone, it impacts the mask requirements. At this point, mask requirements are few. So there's the federal mask requirement that people wear masks on public transportation. There's a childcare mask requirement. There's mask requirements for schools as well as hospitals. Effective July 1, those mask requirements expire, meaning that if you have a, excuse me, I misspoke, all but one of those mask requirements expire. The federal requirement to continue to wear a mask on public transportation, that will continue to be in place, but all of the other ones expire, meaning that you as a business owner can decide whether in fact you are going to go forward and require masks in your workplace or not. The social distancing language, all of that stuff continues to be gone. There is I have heard rumors that the state of emergency may be continued a little bit longer in order to permit state COVID relief programs to continue, but I have not seen anything confirming that. I will drop a link into the chat, which will take you to the governor's roadmap on termination of the COVID orders, which will lay out what expires when. I'll admit it's not the easiest thing to follow, but generally most things expire July 1 at 12:01 in the morning. And then there are a few things that will expire 45 days later on August 15th, again at 12:01 in the morning. But I'll drop a link in there. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me and I can help answer them.
And the last thing I want to provide is that, so actually yesterday, the CDC did extend the eviction moratorium through the end of July. So it was June 30th. It will now be July 31st. And they did say in the release that they anticipate this would be the last extension of that moratorium. Now, as you heard, I think both I and Sylvia said this, the governor's moratorium at the state level, it goes through August 15th, I believe. And the CDC one is a bit more comprehensive, I believe, and offers some additional protections. That one goes through July 31st. So we would start to see some level of potential evictions beginning on August 1st, but then many more potentially on August 15th, unless we can avert them, which we are working actively as a county to do. We have a rental relief program that is doling out, more than $1 million a week at this point in pacing of checks going out the door. People can still apply for that. We've had, I think, more than 5,000 applications for that program already.
I would note that in terms of the eviction moratorium, the courts are completely backlogged at this point. Obviously, they have not been operating under their normal rules for the last 15 months, meaning that any judgment that was continued due to COVID would likely require some sort of action to get it before the court in order for the judgment to in fact have full force and effect. I don't know how the court intends to do that, whether they intend to do their own audit, they intend to perhaps have landlords be the ones who bear the onus of filing an action, but the legal train is moving very slowly. It's going to take a while to start it up again.
And does that eviction moratorium include commercial leases?
I do
not believe it does, and I was actually just looking to confirm that, but
I think it's residential.
I don't believe it does. But yeah,
I don't think
it offers the same protections for commercial leases.
I agree. That's my recollection as well.
Right, absolutely. Okay, wow, great information. That was the only question I see, but man, that was good. And thank you both for sharing. Thank you, Ms. Kent. That was excellent, Dr. Stoddard. We appreciate it. If you have any questions relating back to the information that we just received, which was very valuable, please let us know, as you can put something in the chat to discuss it. But that just says, as we talk about lifting state of emergencies, where we're going, things are definitely moving in the right direction for all of us at the right time. So glad to hear it. Okay, I'm not going to hold you guys any longer. Let's now, thank you as always, Dr. Stoddard. Let's now transition over to our director of our permitting services. Her name is Director Mitra Pedoeem. Thank you for joining us, Mitra, today. So for those of you who may not know, Director Pedoeem came to us, during the pandemic. And she has been the bull in the china shop, so to speak, and she has had a lot of great ideas and done a lot of great things for DPS to increase the friendliness of our county with doing business with our residents. And it is a breath of fresh air as we are going through the for business process, and we are very fortunate to have a champion like her on our side. So. She's doing some great things. She's going to tell us about them. So I'll stop talking and we'll hear from her. Mitra, welcome. Thank you for joining us. And you're on mute, Mitra. It's all right.
Okay. Thank you, Jerome. And good afternoon. Thank you. I'm really flattered with that introduction. and I'm so honored and happy that I have been invited here for a few minutes to tell you guys that what we have been doing for DPS. First of all, I want to make sure that you all know that we are open now. We are open for business. We have opened our doors as of June 14th. And also, I would like you to know that we are in a brand new building. We used to be in downtown Rockville. Actually, during the pandemic, we moved to the new Wheaton headquarters on 2425 Reedy Drive on 7th floor. Please come and visit us. And we are in a beautiful state of art, completely sustainable. The first county building that is platinum design. Yes, so please come and visit us. As Jerome mentioned, I took this position during the height of pandemic when everywhere was closed, and it was a brand new experience, although that I'm not new to government, but that was a really interesting experience to start running a brand new department when everybody is teleworking. And it was, the silver lining was that through virtual meeting and through Zoom, I was able to have at least 8 to 10 meetings a day, jumping from one Zoom meeting to another, that it was quite an experience. And talk to many of you, many of the business stakeholders, many of the staff, many other government entities, many of the professional or business affiliations, and find out that what is it that we can do to get better. I was brought in by county executive, and he had two things in his mind. He wanted to make the customer service better. It was like that DPS was in a black hole and they were unreachable. The other thing was that he basically told me that, Mitra, permitting takes a long time. And we need to streamline the permitting processes that our patrons and our clients, they come and easily will be able to get permits. And that's what we have been working since this past 14, 15 months. One thing that I have to tell you, Montgomery County has, not just Montgomery County, we have a lot of regulations and a lot of laws. Many of those are there to protect you, is protect us. My department is an agent to make sure to facilitate the construction of your facilities to be health and safe. So I'm not here in any way to stand in front of those laws and regulations, but my job is that to make sure my staff are interpreting those regulations correctly, and we can apply them to your project and be your partners in your businesses, and provide it for you and facilitate those permits for you in a very timely way. So the first action that I had to do, find that what was not right, how we could achieve these two visions. After talking to and having more than 100 meetings within 90 days, I came up with 85 action plans, that it was about 35 of them in regard to enhancing customer service, and the remaining was for streamlining the business process. And we have been working with sitting tight and fasten our safety belt and moving with the speed of lightning to make them happen. And I just give you a few things that we have done. I'm not going to go through all the different 85 action items, but it was a few major icons that since then it has happened. Number one, it was a major reorganization of the whole department. We had our first line customer service clients spread around different divisions. We moved, the DPS has like about 220 field position. And we moved between 75 to 80 of those staff. We moved them to different divisions, and we created a new division. And we did everything within the existing resources. We didn't ask for any additional money or any changes of the positions, but everything was done within the existing resources. And actually, we reduced one manager position, and we eliminated one division, and we created a new customer support and outreach division. We moved all our permit technicians that they were the first line of customer service under one umbrella. This way, we provided and facilitated that these different permit technicians to get cross-training and to help each other and move them wherever we need them more at the time of the business when the applications come in. We hired a new multilingual division chief that, she's fantastic. And she is working with all these permit technicians with standard guidelines of customer support. And that is that the first one that I can tell you, any request comes to us, we need to get back to the customer within 24 hours. If we get a phone call, if we get an email, if we get something through our MC 311, as soon as it comes to us, our requirement is that we need to get back to our customer within 24 hours. Even though if we don't know the answer, we tell them that we have your information, we are working on it. And now we are working and enforcing to make sure that this process is being implemented. We are providing training. Actually, currently, Montgomery College, through our HR, we have like about 20 mini series of customer-focused training for a specific group of our staff. Like our inspectors get their own training, our plan reviewers get their own training, our permit technicians get their own training. Everybody get 3 2-hour training that how to respond and deal with customer. And also make sure that these principles of customer service are being followed. We put it in their performance evaluation. That means that now, if you don't follow it, it's going to be reflected in the performance evaluations. So all of these changes have happened. Now, in addition to these changes, we are changing a lot of tools. I just don't know how it was, but it was that DPS worked on 3 separate systems, because everything right now is electronic. However, many of our applications that were for the projects that they were doing electronic, it was just like electronic coming and someone was receiving it and then manually they had to process it. So we had 3 separate platforms that they were not talking to each other back and forth. And that's why a lot of times our customers, our clients, that is you, if they wanted to upload plans, they have to go to a separate platforms and they had problem to uploading plans. Or if they wanted to see what is the status of the project, it was in the for business, it was saying it was pending. It was saying pending because these 2 systems, they didn't talk to each other. And someone had manually from one platform enter the status to another one. And imagine that if you get like about 40, 50,000 applications, and each application may have 10 or 15 different point of contact, how many manual work that you're talking about. Frankly, I'm amazed that the staff have been able to do what they have been doing so far, because we did not have, and we still don't have, a permitting and licensing system. However, the good news, we have an we were able within this 1 year to find a vendor. And the most important thing with government, we find the vendor and the vendor is on board. That means that a contract is executed. And I am extremely proud of the work that our staff, our procurement, and our legal have put into it. We were working day and night. I remember that one time when legal told me, came back and said, did anybody sleep last night? Because I was working until late. I woke up in the morning and I had 20 emails in my inbox. How did it happen? And I said that, no, we were not sleeping. We were all working. So we made it happen. And we have a very good vendor that is on board. The process of configuration takes about 12 months. It's going to take 30 to 40 to 50 of my staff at a time to work with this vendor to do this configuration. I know that during this 1 year, we're going to be a little bit rocky in regard, because these are the same staff that they have to do the applications for permit. I'm hiring more people. At the same time, I'm allowing overtime to make sure that your permits are being done. But the promise that I can give to you, and I'm giving to my staff also, is that after a year, everything would be much better. Everybody can go, you can go on the front and open your computer, and it's going to ask you what you want to do. So we're going to have a result and decision engine, and you're going to ask you questions, okay? And you answer the questions, and then it's going to give you a list of the permits that you need. And if you know what you need, you could just go to it. If you don't know it, it's going to give you this list, and you're going to put all at the same time, even though if you need to get permits from MNC PPC or from WSSC, we're going to give you the link, okay? And then we're going to, you are able to go to each link, click on it, fill the application, and then the permit fee, you could put it in the shopping cart like Amazon, okay? And then you can do all the applications at the same time. Pay the fee one time. Right now you have to pay for each of them separately, not anymore. You pay for all of them one time, and then you can see who is going to review it. You're going to upload your plans right there, and you can see the comments on the plans right there. You could see your reviewers right there. You could see your status right there. You could get your permit right there. Then you could schedule your inspection right there. And then you could see the inspection report right there. And then you could see the use and occupancy right there. And everything would be done in the same platform. When you come back and you have, if you're a frequent user, you could see all of your projects in your account. So it's amazing, it's exciting. I am really excited. My staff are excited. So this is going to take, so far, we have started, there are 6 phases. We are in phase 2. Phase 3 is the biggest and the most difficult part. And hopefully by next year, this time, we have a new system. If everything goes right, you know, this is if everything goes right. And it's going to be all on cloud from the promises, and it's going to be enterprise. So it's going to be something that it's going to change the way we do work with DPS. And I promise you that we're going to get better. Many of the issues that you mentioned in For Business, it is the system, and it's going to take care of it for you.
And, you know, replacing a legacy system is never easy. And you sound like you are fully engaged in doing so. So congratulations on all your progress you've made so far and what you're going to do. We do have one comment so far, and I'll read it for you. It's from one of our valued listeners. It says, thank you, Ms. Pedoeem, for all the actions that you are taking to make permitting a better process for business owners. While systems change to help employees to better maneuver and help the client, changing the culture, such as business as usual, or that stagnant government mentality can remain the change. How does the employee performance and department performance tie back to customer feedback on how the culture of the department is positively changing and the employees are being held accountable? This is important as you hire new staff. And I did hear you say something, which I'm sure you're going to expand upon, is the accountability and performance plans so that they can be rated and graded on an annual basis. But go right ahead.
Yeah, you are 100% correct. Those 85 action plans, I didn't mention it due to the lack of time, but we are changing business processes and also many of the mindset, business practices, okay? Those business practices is what you're talking about, the culture, okay? And I can tell you, one of them is common sense, okay? One of them is empower employees make decision, not to be afraid to make a mistake, and we're going to be behind them to pick them up, okay? The other one is that, let me explain that. Many of the business processes came from the changes that we are requesting, and actually we are working and we have put them into effect, came from for business. Like, do not change the plan by inspector. When a plan is approved, we don't want the inspector change it during that time.
Right.
And we have put processes that how that could be eliminated, because if an inspector, and I'll just give you an example that how this culture can change, okay? A plan is approved and the inspector comes and says that what is approved may not be correct, okay? We are working with our inspectors that if it doesn't impact the health and the safety of the business, you should let it go. Okay. Because it was approved. So this is one thing that we are working with our inspectors, and we are asking the section supervisors to let them go. We call them, de minimis. If it is a minimum impact, to just let it go. Don't stop the business and don't do anything. Let it go, because if they didn't get it first, you cannot force them to do it now. Now, if it is something that has to do with health and safety, okay, we cannot let it go because you don't want us to let it go. Right. So this is the instructions that we have given to our inspectors, that before they even contact the applicant, they need to call the plan reviewer and work with a plan reviewer with a solution that has the minimum impact to the customer if possible. Come with a solution, that what the solution is, and then bring the customer in and work with the customer with the priority that these changes would be done with as much as possible with no impact to their schedule or to their budget. So they have been instructed that work behind the scene together, come up with a solution and take the solution to the customer and be transparent and explain to them that why we are doing what we have to do. And many of our customers, when they see that you don't want something that could jeopardize your building. And correct. If someone has made a mistake, you would be happy we get it now, rather than let the contractor leave and then something happens. So most of the people are okay with that, as long as that we work with them. And we make mistake, everybody makes mistake, but we need to own it and we need to work with it. So we are putting a lot of business processes in place to resolve these issues, and we are enforcing them. I personally am enforcing them through the managers and through the supervisors, and we are educating them, training them our staff, DPS staff, are very knowledgeable in what they do, but sometimes we have to make their eyes open to look at the way that the customer is, to look at the customer need, look at from their point of view and from their shoes. So that's what we are training. That's what this training with Montgomery College, specifically we have it for our inspectors, and specifically we have it for our plan reviewer, that's exactly for that. So we are giving them education, we are giving them training, we are putting them into their performance plan. And also when we hiring new people, we make sure that the position description is written in a way that the managers have more flexibility to move a staff to different positions that they could deliver the best. They could match their expertise with their skills, that we do that. So it's a lot going on under the scene, but these things takes time. But a lot has happened and it will continue. I hope I answered to your question.
You most certainly did. It is great all that you're doing. And, part of what we heard prior to your arrival was consistency. And then, whether it was customer service, when people were interacting with staff, and just being able to help find an answer and a way to get to yes, if yes is possible, is what I think people were looking for. And that it sounds like their experience will be enhanced by the training that they're going to get. It will be enhanced by the systems that you are bringing in, and the efficiency of your department will only go up. And we look forward to, as a county, as a colleague, as well as the businesses, look forward to your success going forward and everything that you're doing. So thank you again.
Sure. I just want to add something else. It's even semantic. We are changing semantic. I don't want our inspectors to be called like a code enforcement inspector. The word of enforcement is not right, because we are the facilitators. We are the code compliance reviewers. We try to make sure that your projects are in compliance with codes. And I do believe in codes, because I believe that the codes are there for reasons. Of course, there are some old codes that they don't make sense. And anytime I come across it, we change it. Actually, we are changing a few of them now. But the majority of building codes and everything is for your safety, okay? So I do believe in that. But we are not the enforcers. Our job is to make sure that we facilitate the code compliance with your projects. And this is something that I am sure every project owner wants.
Right.
You don't, the contractors come and go, but the project stays for you. So you want to make sure that it's safe.
And we've learned anything by now. We've learned that words matter, and being called the right title and being labeled for the right action should go a long way in helping make sure that we get to the best outcome for everyone involved. So I want to thank you again, Director Mitra Pedoeem. It was great having you. Your information is stellar as always. You are much a rock star in the county executive's eyes, and we all know why. So keep up the great work. Keep doing a great job, and thanks for joining us today.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. My pleasure. Please feel free to send me. My name is on the a website or anything. Any questions that you have, please feel free to send it to us.
All right, and there you have it.
Thank
you. So I'll wrap up by saying thank you everyone for attending today. Glad to have you here. Remember, we will see you again on August the 6th. We will be back and better than ever. So we look forward to seeing you then. Until then, take care, enjoy your July, and be safe.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.